Australia has always been a land of extremes. From vast deserts to lush rainforests, floods and cyclones to drought and fire. But those extremes make us even more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change.
You've only got to look at the damage to an ecosystem like the Great Barrier Reef or to Australia's kelp forests in the south. Everything is changing at a tremendous pace.
And that's with just over 1 degree of warming. Doesn't sound like much, right?
Yield potential of wheat and barley has fallen by 27%.
Around 500,000 cattle died in tropical Queensland from a combination of flooding rains and lack of feed from the prior drought.
Just a few days ago, this stretch of the Darling River was choked with many thousands of dead fish.
Victoria is sweltering through a heatwave with power outages in multiple Melbourne suburbs.
Sadly, the Bramble Cay melomys is now listed as extinct.
The devastating summer bushfires of 2019 and 2020 killed or displaced around 3 billion vertebrate animals.
That was with 1 degree of warming or just above. It's hard to imagine what 3 degrees of warming could mean for the severity and frequency of extreme events like that.
But wait, why 3 degrees? Surely things will get better now that we have the Paris Agreement.
A lot of people assume that because we've signed on to the Paris Agreement and everybody's in the same room, that we're actually moving to a target that gets us out of trouble. That's not the case.
Even if international governments meet their current Paris pledges on time, Earth could well reach average global surface temperatures of 3 degrees or more above the pre-industrial period by 2100. In other words, the world has not yet pledged enough to get us out of trouble.
What does that mean for ecosystems in Australia? What does it mean for cities and towns? What does it mean for human well-being, medicine?
Some of the answers can be found in a new landmark report by the Australian Academy of Science, which calls on the federal government to accelerate our transition to net zero emissions and become a global voice for action.
It should be doing everything it can to make sure that the international community goes the zero carbon route as quickly as possible, because we've got so much to lose.
Restraining global warming to 1.5 degrees is now extremely unlikely. But we can still limit warming to well below 2 degrees with swift action and decisive leadership.
Australia has a stable democracy, we have a great scientific tradition, we have great and innovative technology. We have a moral international responsibility to be a leader on climate action.
There is no scientific doubt about the source or consequences of unmitigated climate change. But just as with COVID-19, science has solutions.
We've really got to look at this as an opportunity for Australia as opposed to a cost.
To find out more about the impact of 3 degrees of warming on you and your community, read the full report now at science.org.au/warmerworld.